This is what I call my tobacco patch. It's about an 8 to 10 foot in diameter circle. It used to be a big old Bradford pear tree. On the ground was lava rocks. It looked okay. Last year I grew tobacco in here. There was not a whole lot of soil there. I was basically planting it in rocks. After that year I pretty much made it a compost pile over the later half of the summer, through the winter and into the spring. So I had a somewhat okay amount of soil in here. I grew tobacco in here this year. Everything worked pretty well. I added fertilizer 1 or 2 times, but besides that, there seemed to be a good amount of nutrients in here. I plan on growing tobacco in here next summer as well. And to make sure that there's enough nutrients in there, and also just to continue to build the soil, I'm going to try to plant a cover crop in here. It's September 15th. I live in Missouri. I don't think we're supposed to have a frost for a while, so I think I'll at least get some amount of growth in here. At least that's the hope. You're going to notice there's a bunch of stuff in here. I knocked all the weeds down with a pressure washer yesterday. I also let some tomato plants grow in here as an experiment, so there's a good amount of just junk in there. I'm going to rake all that into the center, have a little compost pile in there that I can add to throughout the winter. And on the outskirts, I'm going to plant the lentils as the cover crop. This is what the soil looks like. I am no expert, but I think this looks okay. Especially because 2 years ago it was just rocks I was planting in. Like, this is a lava rock here. I'm not going to try to get rid of them. I'm just going to leave them in there. But there's a decent amount of stuff in here. This spring, this place was loaded with earthworms. I sometimes leave these stumps, which I've just never gotten around to getting rid of. I just leave them in this tobacco patch. And when I pick them up, you can see there's fungus there. There's also a bunch of ants and roly-polies, so I'm sure this place is loaded with life, which I think is good for soil. These are just some green lentils I soaked last night. Sprinkle them in there, call it good. These guys in the dirt, water it. Alright, we're about, I think, 2 weeks after I initially threw those lentils down here. Here's what some of that growth looks like. We've had, I think, 2 light freezes in the last week. We're supposed to get some hard freezes in about a week, so I don't know how much more good this will do, but it grew and is continuing to grow pretty well. Looks nice and healthy. I just don't know if it's actually going to get mature enough to do anything for my soil, but this is I don't know, like 2 week or so update. Here is about 3 weeks of growth, maybe 4. Something dug up this patch of ground. I'm thinking it was a skunk, but I also had carp buried underneath there, so maybe that's what they were getting after. They also dug over here, and I know there's no carp buried over there, so I don't know what they were digging for. But I'm very happy with this growth. These guys have actually survived 2 frosts. These frosts killed the tomato plants, just about killed the tobacco plants. But the lentils are doing fine. Lots of growth. They're at probably 6 inches, 7 inches or so. I'm about to mow the lawn, dump those grass clippings in here in the middle, hose it down. That'll give that compost pile a good amount of mass to start working with. So this is what we're looking like. We are just shy of 2 months with this project since I planted the seeds, planted the lentils. We just had a decent freeze last night. It got down to like mid to upper 20s. Every once in a while there will be a snowflake here. But I'm considering this project done. We had a very solid amount of growth. Like I'm surprised that lentils from Walmart grew as well as they did under the conditions that they did. Let's get a closer look at this. See if we can find one of the better plants. It's also very dense. So there's probably shit. These grew very dense, so I'm sure there's a lot of competition. Maybe if I spaced them out more, they would have grown better. But I already went in here. Longest plant that I'm finding tends to be about, what is that, 8 to 10 inches in length. Now I want to look at these roots. So the point of the roots is to put nitrogen in the soil. Apparently you're supposed to see like nitrogen, I think they're calling them nodes. Let's see what these roots look like. This guy right here might be what I'm after. I really don't know. It looks like a node coming off the root. Lentils are a nitrogen fixing plant. So maybe it's possible I got some nitrogen in the soil. Maybe I just have no idea what I'm talking about. That's very possible. Regardless, we got life into this soil. I'm going to weed whack all this stuff, mix up the compost pile, throw some carbon in there. I'm going to throw some shredded paper in there, water it down, and hope for the best. That really brought it down to nothing. Yep. I like what I see in there. I haven't watered this thing in a while. It looks like there's definitely some breakdown. Solid breakdown happening. See some white stuff. There's a roly-poly here. I'm sure there's more bugs in there. Temperature is warmer than it is out here, but it's not warm. We're gonna add paper in here. I'll probably mow the lawn, rake more grass clippings in there, see if that can get us a warm compost pile. I'm gonna be watering down these, I don't know, shredded paper immediately. Oh, it doesn't blow everywhere. Make me a terrible neighbor.